This is the beginner's guide to pelvic floor exercises. I want you to watch this video in its entirety. It is going to teach you exactly how to start strengthening your pelvic floor and get you acquainted with your pelvic floor and how to use it so you can be super strong and super fit. Please like and subscribe, share this with all your friends. Everybody deserves a strong pelvic floor. Let's dive into pelvic floor exercises that you can start doing today. First and foremost, welcome to your pelvis. This is your pelvis sitting at the front of your body, and it consists of the pelvic floor muscles. It is multiple muscles, and you have to learn how to strengthen and elongate and work all of these muscles so that you can have a superhero, super strong pelvic floor. Let's dive into some of these exercises that you can start doing today. The first exercise we're going to do together is going to help open up the pelvic floor, which is going to give us nice strength and range of motion to help elongate the muscle so we have a better resting position for the muscle to contract. Here is a great way to start to stretch your pelvic floor so that you'll be ready for our strengthening exercise. We're going to drop down to the floor. You can use a pole if this isn't comfortable with your knees. You can also do this while lying on your back if that's more comfortable for you. This is going to help open up the entirety of the pelvic floor. You're going to be in this position, or you can put your hands inside your knees, or you can go more into a pose like this with your hands at heart center. And I want you to take some breaths here. We're going to do a nice deep breath and open pelvic floor. Think about opening your sit bones, allowing the air to go deep down here between your legs, inhaling and opening, exhaling and letting the air leave your body. This exercise should be done for about 30 to 60 seconds. You should feel your hips open, feel your pelvic floor open, and this is our very first pelvic floor strengthening exercise. Okay, our next exercise is going to be a toe squeeze. In this position, we are squeezing the knees together. We're squeezing the toes and we're flaring our heels apart, getting some overflow from the inner thighs and the feet up towards the pelvic floor and the hips. So you should feel this actually in your hips. And then you're going to hold for 10 seconds and then you'll let it go for a second. Then you'll go back into it, toe squeeze, heel squeeze, holding for 10 seconds. And then you'll let it go again. I want you to repeat that 10 times. That'll be your next exercise that you're going to do after the hip opener. Our next exercise, our third one that we're going over today, is going to be a heel squeeze. So here, again, in the sitting position, we're going to heel squeeze and flare our knees apart. And you should feel this in your glutes and also into your pelvic floor. Then you're going to let it go and take a breath, and then go back into it again. Just squeezing your heels, and then let it go. This is so easy. You could do this at your desk during the workday. You're just starting to get some pelvic floor activation, but more importantly, you're actually just working some of your hip rotator muscles that are gonna overflow into working on the pelvic floor. Really, the true strength for the pelvic floor is going to come from elongating and strengthening your pelvic floor. I want you to check out my previous video about what is the pelvic floor in order to really learn that you have to open up the pelvic floor in order for it to be a strong and supple muscle. So check that video out, and then you can come back to this video and go through these exercises because they're going to give you more bang for your buck as far as your strengthening program goes for strengthening your pelvic floor. Our next exercise is going to be a glute bridge in order to start to get our glutes to fire. The glutes also overflow to the pelvic floor, and the glutes are what truly unload the pelvic floor. So if you have chronic tightness or tension in your pelvic floor and you struggle to get pelvic floor strength, start strengthening your glutes, and that is going to give your pelvic floor more power and more range of motion, because the stronger your glutes are, the less compensations and tightness happen throughout the pelvic floor. So glute strength is the key to having the strongest pelvic floor that you can imagine. Let's get into a glute exercise right now. We're going to go into a bridge. We are activating our glutes and we're pushing our knees away from our body In order to generate that hip extension, you're pushing through the entirety of the foot, including the heel, including the toes, the big toe especially, and then you'll lower down slow, and then you're gonna come up again. You probably wanna keep your spine as flat as possible, so ditching the pillows would be a good idea, just to keep your spine in complete alignment. So I'll show you what that looks like again. We'll slide down so we're not on the pillows. Here we go. We're here, pushing the knees away, engaging the glutes. You can hold it for a few seconds at the top and then come back down. All right, we just went through some amazing pelvic floor strengthening exercises without doing a single Kegel. And that is because the strength of the pelvic floor, again, comes from having full range of motion of the pelvic floor. So I want you to try these exercises. Drop down in the comments, let me know how they feel on your body. When you start to get your hips stronger, your pelvic floor in turn is going to get stronger. The issue is the function of the pelvic floor, and the pelvic floor itself most likely doesn't operate in this full range of motion unless you practice getting the full range of motion. That's why I'm saying it is so important to go back to the previous video and listen to that video so you can start getting more range of motion. That'll make these exercises that we just did together much more effective for your pelvic floor itself. I'm Dr. Allison Fell. I truly appreciate you being here. Please like and subscribe to our video. I know it's tacky to maybe ask you that, but we are thriving on helping more women improve their pelvic floor function and live healthy and happy lives. And we can't do that without your help, without your likes, and without you sharing this video. So thank you so much for being here. I wish you the strongest pelvic floor in the world. Take care.